Hi, everyone. This is Alexandra Geczi. I am an attorney who focuses on divorce and family law for women. And so, you guys, I had posted a post about how we increased traffic in the last few months significantly from having had several marketing companies try to do that in the last several years and not doing as well. So, a lot of you asked to have a quick video on how we did that. So I'm going to do that for you today. This is just kind of a really 10,000-foot overview of everything. I'm going to try to keep it short. If you guys want any more videos on any of this stuff in more detail, please let me know. I just love marketing. So if you guys want to know any other of the marketing techniques we do for other things, not just site traffic, but other ways that we attract clients, let me know. And I'm happy to come up with something. All right. So let's dive into this. So this is my main web page. So this is, I have a couple other web pages, but this is my main web page that we have. And just kind of scroll through that so you can kind of see it's set up. One of the first things we did actually is take control of our website. I think a lot of these marketing companies, they maintain control of the website, and then you can't really work with it. You can't see what's really going on, what they're doing. You can't add stuff if you have your own ideas about things. You can't experiment. You can't really pivot as quickly. So one of the first things we did is we got control of our website. We put it onto WordPress. This is the design that they had come up with. I'm actually not thrilled with this design. And I'm in the process of reworking this and streamlining it. But in the meantime, this is what we've got. And they were kind enough, the last marketing company, to get it transferred over to a WordPress site. So we do have control over that now. And I'll show you our WordPress dashboard so you see what this is. It's a super easy thing for really anyone can manage a WordPress site. And I have an assistant that really manages it for me. But if you don't have an assistant, it's very intuitive. You can do this yourself. This is kind of the dashboard, and it kind of gives you updates. A lot of this I just kind of ignore. There's really not much I do with that. One of the key features that I like about WordPress is that they have this plugin called Yoast. Yoast SEO, I believe it's a free plugin. You can always do an upgrade. So they try to sell you down here on the upgrade. I haven't done the upgrade, but I'm sure if you do that, it probably has better stuff. I don't know. If I ever do the upgrade, I'll let you know what I think about it. But for now, and this is actually, we're not actually even using Yoast. I found out when I was reviewing our website, I found out that our prior marketing companies were actually not using Yoast, and I didn't realize this is such a cool feature. I'm going to be using it in the coming months or coming weeks, and so on some projects to experiment with it a little bit. So I'm hoping that will actually increase even more traffic to our site. But in the meantime, what you need to know is that we got control, and then in the dashboard here, no, that's not it, this one here. So you can kind of do, you can do posts. So these are all our posts and stuff. Super easy to create a blog, and you just do add new, and it walks you through it. If you also want to do pages, I think here you can say there's a new page. So if you want to add a page to your website, you can add more pages to your website. And again, it's very intuitive. It'll walk you through it and how to do it. So that is the first thing I would recommend, is figuring out if it would benefit you. I guess I'm not suggesting you do it, just that's what we did. One of the things that we did for step one. The next thing that we did was beef up our Google My Business page. So Google My Business page, some of you may have one. If you don't, I would really suggest you get one. It's a Google product, so obviously it's going to help with traffic if you put some energy on this. Setting it up doesn't take that long, maybe 15, 20 minutes. And once it's set up, it's really easy to run. It's free, so just do it. Key things to keep in mind is you want to get reviews. Remember, you can get reviews from not just clients, but you can get them from colleagues and people who are familiar with you and your work, and they can put reviews about, you know, what they know. So that is something that helps with rankings and traffic. The other big thing I would suggest is they have, so something we started doing actually when we took over was posts. We started doing far more frequent posts. So Google My Business has this really cool feature where you can post just like you would post on social media and stuff. And it'll push the content out there for you. So it doesn't have to be a really long post. Like our posts are super short. It's basically just an intro sentence or two talking about what we put on our blog this week or whatever, or maybe it's an e-guide, or maybe it's a video that we put out there or whatever. And so you can add these. Instead of just putting the post, though, make sure that you put a link in there to go back to your site, so that, again, when Google is pushing this out to people, you want to have just that kind of that intro to get them intrigued, and then have them forced to be clicked to your website. So when they click to your website, again, that's driving traffic to your website. So that's a little tip and thing that we did. Let's see, the next thing. Oh, and with Google My Business, the things that make it work are the images. So make sure you put a lot of images, more frequent posts. So post frequently. I think we kind of did it weekly for a while. I think we may have dropped off a little bit, but doing weekly posts would be great. And then, like I said, link back to your site. The next thing we did is focus on content. Content is king, I think, for our industry, or at least for what I do. I believe our ideal clients are out there looking in the internet, looking for answers, and hoping that we have a solution to their problems. So first thing you need to know your audience. Who is it that you want to attract, and create content that attracts them. So, this, as you can tell, our niche is women and going through divorce. So that is what the majority of our content is about, right? It's talking about women. The color scheme is female focused. The testimonials tend to be mothers and things like that. Frequently asked questions that they ask, our ideal clients are asking, stay-at-home moms, working moms, right? They have different concerns. So we're putting this out there so that that they can kind of see. We have things that they can download, free resources and things that are focused on what they're researching, practice areas about us, just the different things here. We have the blog, which is a good way of also getting the content out there. And so, just check it out, and you'll kind of see what the content, how it's geared towards our ideal audience. Now, when you're talking about content, you need to consider both your website pages as well as the blog, and think of them as kind of two different entities. Your pages are going to be more static, so the content will be a little bit different approach there. The pages you want to focus on for content are going to be your home page, your bio page, the geographic areas. We get a lot of traffic to the geographic areas where we practice. So we actually have built out a couple of what we call monster pages, where it's, Dallas County, Dallas, and it talks about all kinds of stuff going on in Dallas and how we help people in Dallas and all that. And you could do that for every place where you practice. And that's going to be, like I said, more static. You're not going to update that as frequently. Practice areas, that's kind of a no-brainer. Make a page for each of the practice areas that you do. So, like we do divorces, prenups, step-parent adoptions, things like that. So we have a page for each of those. Mediation, collaborative law, right? Each of those has its own individual page. So again, it increases the odds that someone is going to be looking for just mediation. They're going to land on your site because you have this page that has a lot of content about that particular thing. And then frequently asked questions. You can have a separate frequently asked questions page, or put it on your home page the way they kind of did it here. But frequently asked questions. You guys are consulting with your clients all the time. You know what they're asking. So put those questions on your website, answer them, and that'll drive traffic. Blogs, that's where you have an opportunity with your blog to go more in depth on these topics. So a lot of times what we'll do is take one of these frequently asked questions, and then I'll write like 3 or 4 blogs on it, just from different angles, right? Like child custody. Think about child custody and all the different things that go with that they have questions about. One is, relocation. We have a lot of people relocating. So talk about child custody and relocation. You've got child support, like above and below guideline caps, right? So maybe talk about that in another one. Domestic violence, you can talk about that. So there's a lot of different angles. So it's not just child custody. There's a lot of things that touch on that you can talk about. So I think, again, just blog is an opportunity to go more in depth on some of these topics. and experiment too. Like you know, see the interest in different things. You can experiment with the blog, and so it's a little bit more, I guess, kinetic, and you can experiment a little bit more on your blog. Um, Again, keep in mind with, of course, lawyer rules and all that stuff. Be familiar with all that. But so when I say experiment, experiment within the guidelines and rules. Um, the next thing we did was push our content. So share your links on social media. We have an email thing, like an email software that we have email campaigns. So push it out in your newsletter, in just emails in general, announcements. On your business cards, you could have business cards when you go to events that have a link back to your website, content, specific things that you want people to focus on. I once met a DUI lawyer who had a really cool, they had a card with sort of like a little checklist, and they were like directed me not to their homepage, but to the page to download the checklist in detail, which I thought was kind of cool. So, you could set stuff like that up. And, I got the business card and this little checklist card, which was kind of neat. So, and don't forget your Google My Business page, right? So again, another place where you can push out content and they'll push it out for you. Another idea, and something that we've done a couple times, is consider teaming up with other professionals in complementary practice areas to push out each other's content. That way you're getting access to new audiences. Like in family law, complementary area may be like estate planning, business planning, tax planning, stuff like that. So maybe get together with some attorneys in those different areas and push each other's content. Even different family lawyers, just make sure that whoever you're teaming up with does have an audience that will appreciate what you're providing them, and that they do have a bit of an audience to make it worthwhile. If they only have 1 or 2 followers, just consider if it would be worthwhile for your efforts. And then the other thing for pushing your content is increase the frequency. So we went from monthly, just doing a monthly blog and just letting everybody know once a month, to really doing it weekly. So I think that was a huge driver of the traffic as well, was making sure that we were sharing it on more platforms and more frequently. And so that got more eyes on it and got traffic going up too. The next tip and thing, because at this point you may be thinking, well, crap, like I don't have time to do this kind of content. I don't, first of all, maybe you don't want to write content, you don't have the time to do it, all that. So that's why you hire people, right? Well, the marketing companies were fine. Like they wrote these kind of 500-word generic things, which was okay. But what I ended up doing was going and delegating the content creation to freelancers. So they have a couple of freelance sites that we use, Fiverr and Upwork. And so those are really great for finding freelancers. So I have actually a couple of projects right now going on in Fiverr, helping me with some content creation. So, and just to show you like how cheap some of this stuff is, right? Like you can find people that do stuff for really cheap, like, a WordPress site for $4.95. I mean, it's a very bare bones, but like you can find this, people who will do the blogs for 10, 15, 20 bucks. So it's very affordable. And so I would recommend that you guys do that. Upwork, I tend to go to Upwork when I'm looking for like an assistant type person, like handling projects. So a recent project that we did was collecting certain industry, to go online and just collect the contact information for a certain industry that I want to market to, that I believe is complementary to family law. And so I had she spent a couple weeks doing it, and I think the total cost was like $200. It was so cheap. And she basically built out this database of like 500 names now that we are going to use in some of our email marketing. And so that was really great. And I really didn't do anything except just did a quick Loom video on how to look for these names on the internet and create a spreadsheet of the names. So that, and just for those of you guys who don't know what Loom is, it's like this little button here. You can download it to your desktop, and it's what I'm using right now to just do a quickie video. So delegation is key to making this work. Like I said, Fiverr, Upwork, Loom, those would be your tools for delegating. Hire a VA, content creators. Use LastPass or something similar to control the access to, if you're giving them access to post stuff on your website, make sure that you're using something that secures your website in case things go south. You do probably have some sensitive information on your website, so you need to make sure that you're being responsible there. And it's a very affordable way that allows you to experiment, make mistakes, move on without a big investment. And then I guess kind of one of the other things that you need to be aware of, or what we did, was track and analyze. So when you do your WordPress site, and I can't remember exactly where it's put in there, but you should make sure that you have Google Analytics installed on your website. Google Analytics is what I use to see how the traffic is. So here's my Google Analytics homepage. And so I look at this once in a while to see what campaigns are working, where are, it just gives you a ton of information about the people who are coming to your website. It shows you, what pages do your users visit. So it allows me to kind of figure out what are popular topics. You can figure out, last 7 days, you can go last 90 days, you can do custom ranges. So sometimes what I'll do is I will compare, so this is the general overview, but you can go to like acquisition, which gives you an overview of the traffic. Here kind of gives you some different ways to look at it. You can look at organic search, direct, social, referral, email. And so I was focused on organic search. And so looking at the numbers, you can compare them to, say, this week a year ago. So let's look at the previous year when I had a marketing company doing my organic search. So as you can see, it went up dramatically. Now you're also probably looking at this green bar, which has decreased dramatically. And I'll tell you what that is. That is our direct traffic. I made a conscious decision looking at some of these numbers. I made a decision to stop my investments with some of these websites that were driving traffic, like FindLaw, Justia, Super Lawyers, all these guys that charge you an insane amount of money to be listed on there. Google Analytics allowed me to see just exactly the traffic they were actually sending to my website. And when I looked at it, it was a fraction compared to the organic search and what I could do for a much cheaper, affordable cost. And when I also looked, so we actually also have what we call a lead tracker. And so our lead tracker is a spreadsheet that we use to track all of our incoming calls. So every call we get, it's our intake person. She has this spreadsheet. So every call that comes in, she puts it on this spreadsheet. And then it shows, how they came in. So was it an internet lead? Was it from Justia? Was it from a referral, like a professional referral, whatever? So we have all that tracked. And then I can see each month where the leads are coming from. And so I was finding that all the leads that we were getting from some of these websites, none of them in the 2 years that I've been paying for all this, like tens of thousands of dollars to these websites, none of them were ideal clients. It was like just people who really couldn't afford our services. It was people completely off topic. They either weren't a woman, weren't doing divorce, or it was some weird, crazy situation that I just didn't want to deal with. So I made a decision to stop advertising with them a couple months back. And so, yes, the traffic from those direct sites has dropped. I'm going to see it, I can always restart it if I want, but I'm going to kind of see and leave it alone for a little bit. I'm going to give myself 6 months or so and kind of see how it affects things. So far, I don't think it's affected me negatively. It has actually helped benefit my intake person because she doesn't now have to take some of those crap calls. And so it saves her time. She can focus on better clients and intaking those. So again, that is a business decision I made. Whether or not it's a good decision, I guess, is to be determined. But I like that I have the power to do that. Okay, and let's see. I think that's it. So like I said, this is just a quickie overview of how I think we increase traffic to the site. Honestly, content, I think, has been the key, getting good content that your ideal client is looking for, and then getting it out into more platforms and more frequently. And I think that combination alone will really help boost the traffic to your site. And so then you just have to figure out the how, right? So delegate it, track it, set up some systems, and you should be able to do it. And once all that stuff is set up, I don't do a whole lot of this. I check in, maybe once a month on this stuff and kind of tweak stuff. So it's definitely doable and definitely much more affordable than what I was paying before. And if you guys want me to do more videos, like I said before, I'm happy to share more videos on stuff. Just kind of tell me what you want to hear. I mean, I could do like setting up a My Business profile, how to find content creators, like really doing a deeper dive into Upwork and Fiverr to show you kind of like how I do and look for them. How to analyze the Google Analytics. We could do a deeper dive in how I look at these numbers and the traffic, and looking at the site, the pages that they land on, and my strategy when I see something is doing really well, kind of what I do to double down on that. How we set up our email marketing. We use a tool called Active Campaign, so I could walk you through Active Campaign and show you our email newsletters and how they do, and kind of strategies there. I could talk about, how to hone in on your ideal client. Like, I think that really is a huge thing for a lot of lawyers, like really understanding who your ideal clients are and then building out content around that. And I love to talk to lawyers about that and get them clear on that. And then, maybe how to use the Yoast. So there's this Yoast function, Yoast SEO function on WordPress, which I recently discovered, and I'm super excited about. I could walk you guys through how to use that to increase your SEO. So you guys name it if you want anything. I'm going to create a page on our website to kind of collect all these videos if you guys want more of them. And then that will sort of be a nice little library and repository for you guys if you want it. Okay, so that's what I got. Thank you very much. And if you want to contact me, just go to our contact page here, fill that out, and just put a little memo in there that you want to talk about marketing or have a suggestion for a video or something. Okay? All right, take care.